here and we will go ahead and get started. All right. So RGS I do want to look at today. RGS with the news this morning, new credit facility to refinance existing debt. And I do want to be watching RGS for opportunity for after the bell. This move in pre-market has just been nuts. It has not stopped stair-stepping up and stair-stepping up. The issue with that, though, is it's hard to find a defined level of risk that way. These super just stair-steppy setups, it's so hard to find a defined area to risk, right? You can simply just play it over PM highs, play it over PM highs, play it over PM highs. But to me at that point, it's like it's not much, you know, you don't know where the top's going to be. And there's not much for having the defined level of risk to just keep on playing it over the highs. So what I kind of want to do after the bell is see where this base is after open and just kind of go from there. It's got range to about, or where it's at really. It's got range to 16 bucks. And so I'm not really looking for upside. Particularly, I'm not really looking for upside, but I wouldn't mind playing it off maybe a pullback to VWAP at the bell or something like that. I think a prime way to watch this is over 10 at the bell. So as long as it holds over that Psych 10 on the flush, I think this could give some really, really nice dip opportunities today, and I really want to be watching this. So I would be keeping your eyes on RGS at the open today primarily. You know, it's the best gapper you've got this morning as well. But watching it over 10 is going to be the way to go. So I'll be looking at it under 12 and over 10. That's the way that I'm thinking to look at it today. Aside from that, upside, you know, it's not bad if you can catch it over 16. Over 16, you've got range to about 18.5. So you might still have something to watch there. But the big picture setup here is going to be off the pullbacks at the bell. So definitely be watching that way. And it looks good. You know, there's so much interest in this in pre-market this morning with this whole stair-steppy crap that hopefully the dip should provide some nice opportunity whenever buyers circle back to it after the profit takers at the bell. So definitely be watching RGS. I'm watching this over just simply 10. Just watching it simply off the whole number 10 spot down there below VWAP. So I know that's a bit of breathing room there. It gives you about 70 cents of breathing room down there below VWAP, but that's how I like it for the morning. So I definitely want to be watching those pullbacks to see if we can't find a way to play that. VLCN was the gapper yesterday and after hours. I don't mind watching this. If you want to watch it over $6 today, it already made the move in pre-market earlier to about 950, which is wild. Kind of on lower volume as well, but I wouldn't mind watching it again today over VWAP. If it starts to perk back up again, we can watch VLCN over VWAP. That dollar is going to be not predetermined, to be determined after the bell, depending on where this does open up, then we'll come back to that. GLYC, I do like a lot for today. I looked at it earlier, big gap up in into its little gap fill here on the daily. And it looks good. If you can catch it over like 45 cents, this is a really, really nice look into its gap on the daily. So I'm going to be watching GLYC over 45 cents here on its little pre-market wedge break to the upside. And at that point, you know, you've got some pretty significant range here to about $1. So definitely want to be watching this. You've got that dollar magnet here on GLYC. Pre-market highs are right around 51 cents. So that doesn't really interfere with range at all. So definitely be watching this on the break of its structure to the upside here, over 45 cents for the range to $1. So you do have that to be watching today as well. LRHC perking up again this morning. And we had this one, I believe it was last week, a couple days ago, we played this. We did well on it, but I can't imagine playing it again today just because I don't love the setup. I don't absolutely love the setup. Let me get it pulled up here and take another look and see. Volume is decent. If you want to play it over the previous daily high at 290, what was the pre-market high that day? 290, okay. So we actually had the high during trading hours, so 292. You know, that's the only way that I can really see watching this, unless you watch the dips on this off of $2. I mean, those are your only options. Either watch it over 2 or watch it over 290. And over 290, you would actually have that clean range here to about 350. So you'd have about 60 cents of range if you were to play it over that 290, which isn't bad. That's not bad. And I think that I'll set a price alert at the very least. I don't love it where it's at, obviously, but if we do get over that 290, I don't mind it. So I'm going to set a price alert there and see. But that is not a bad look, and you do have that range to about 350 on the break. Let's see, SNTI, not a fan. KEVL, not a fan. ENVX, what's the news here? I don't see news here. Let's see. NNE still going as well. This is one of those that I almost wouldn't mind watching over yesterday's highs. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know what my range here is. So kind of a similar issue to what we have over there in RGS. It's just a stair step. I mean, it's just stair step, stair step, stair step. I've got a defined level of risk. I can simply just risk yesterday's high of day. But it's like, you know, what's my range? How do I know what my range is? How do I calculate my range on a stock like this? It's just stair stepping and stair stepping and stair stepping. Eventually it runs out of range. Eventually it's just, overextended. This setup here on the daily looked phenomenal back here, though, on the 17th. I cannot believe... I guess it had a lack of volume or something, because why didn't I play this? It looks like it only was trading about 200,000 shares. I'm not just... Yeah, that's why I didn't play it, but... That's crazy. That daily looked absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. I wouldn't mind watching it today. So I wouldn't mind watching it today. If you want to watch this off 2250, you've got a decent look. Let's watch it off yesterday's 5-day. Might as well watch it. So this is on NNE. And I'd be watching this one pretty closely here over... I would just do a 2240. Watch it right below yesterday's 5-day. Maybe you've got the range here to the 26s and 28s today. I mean, yesterday it made another 33% move. It's up another 17% pre-market. So I want to be watching it today. Like I said, it's a bit overextended, at least in my mind, but it had a lot of volume yesterday. More volume than it's had the past few days. So I still want to watch this. There's obviously still clear interest up here at the highs. Recent IPO, WENA. Doesn't look too hot. IPO high sits at 196. You might be able to watch this one today as well. On WENA. Well, this is an interesting setup, actually. Look at the daily. What is this, a D-SPAC? I thought it was an IPO, but it looks like a D-SPAC. So we can probably watch this one off of that high day from yesterday at 180. And possibly get buyers to circle back and take this back up through VWAP into the 260s and 3s. So we can watch WENA off 180. Off that high from yesterday. You've actually got some decent setups for today. Some kind of weird ones, and I don't think that we're going to get to play a lot of these, but we can at least have them on our radar to watch after the open. I like to have about 7 or 8 anyways at the bell, just so we have an idea of what to be watching, but these are the main ones for right now, and they look pretty good. They look pretty good. NNE looks fantastic. GLYC looks fantastic. RGS looks fantastic. So we have a lot of really good opportunities for today. Let's do one last look through, and then we'll go over the nightly watch list setup. And I also want to look at MLGO from yesterday too. So MLGO was the big one from yesterday that we played a few times. We actually took 2 losses on it in the morning, and then I came back and took 3 wins on it right after that. So I want to be looking at that one again for today. It was a little bit weird to trade yesterday, but hopefully today, the second day of its move, it cleans up a little bit and gives us some better opportunity. But I do definitely want to look at that here. Let's go ahead and do that. And that's on MLGO. So on this one here, I already had a way that I wanted to watch it today. And really, I just want to see this hold up off of like 1075. Let me pull up the chart one more time and make sure that that's the valid area I want to look at this. Yeah, so really I was looking at it off 1115, but even 1075 at least gives a little bit of breathing room. And I think that's the best way to watch it. So let's watch it off the dips today. On MLGO, off of the 50-day moving average on the 15-minute time frame. So we want to be looking at MLGO off of 1175 or 1075 here actually. Cool beans. We got that. And nightly watch list, we've got, let's see. Let's see, nightly watch list. We've got GRDI again, which was on the previous night's watch list as well. This one actually hit targets yesterday. I didn't play it myself. There wasn't much liquidity, so I couldn't really play it responsibly with y'all. But we do want to watch it again today over 160. So we want to watch it over the highs from yesterday. Actually, that high is going to be closer to 170 that I want to watch on the daily. But definitely be watching this over the highs. And we've got the range here to about 2. So we got range here to 2 and 220. So not too bad either. All right, so we've got a fair number of setups for today. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as we sit right now, and all of them are small caps. Not a lot of mid cap momentum out there this morning. So we're dealing with today, but we should have a pretty good day today. It looks like a good bit of opportunity. And the thing with MLGO yesterday too, and RGS today, is it's going to start to spark momentum back in the market again. We had a kind of a slow streak there for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and it looks like finally things are heating up again, so that's always a good thing to see. So let's go ahead and get all of these pulled up on our charts here, ready for the bell, so that when the time comes, we are ready to rock and roll. But we've got about 15 minutes. Let me go ahead and get all of my charts pulled up real quick, and you guys should be doing the same. And aside from that, if you have any questions, let me know. But make sure that you have all of your charts pulled up. I am doing that at the moment. Make sure I've got all of my charts populated for the bell. And I think these are going to be our top setups to be watching into the open today. I don't really see much else that I want to be watching. So make sure your charts are pulled up. Make sure your levels are marked at the very least. If you can't fit all the charts on your screen, that is fine. As long as you've got your levels marked, so whenever you pull up the ticker, you're ready to go. That's all that matters. All right, I've got a screen full of charts. I think that I'm ready for the open. Pretty excited about today. There's a lot of really good looking setups. We couldn't really say that about yesterday. Yesterday was super, super choppy. Not a whole lot of gappers in pre-market either. This morning, it looks good. We've got a lot out there. Let's see. Okay. And again, for the last 15 minutes, if you guys have any questions, make sure to let me know while we wait for the open. But again, aside from that, make sure you have pulled up all your charts, marked up at least the max risk level. So mark up all these levels here. You see the 10, you see the 45, the 290, the 2240. Mark up all of those. That way you have an idea of what we're watching this over or above out of the open. And I'm trying to see, is there anything we can play in pre-market? There's really not. Everything's kind of stuck in a range here. Everything's kind of stuck in a range. There's not really much that we can do right now. Although I am watching NNE pretty closely. There's not enough liquidity here in pre-market to play it, but after the bell, definitely going to be watching it close. The only thing that I can see worth a potential shot in pre is MLGO. And I wouldn't even play it here, though, because you got to think we're at 1275. We're risking 1075, so I would need to see this at least under 12 to play it. And then RGS, I'm not playing it here either. Again, like I said, it's hard to find a defined level of risk, to where you're, yeah, it's just not a good spot to be. So we'll have to sit back and just wait. All of these looks like they'll meet criteria hopefully after the bell. The only ones that I'm not too sure about, LRHC probably won't meet criteria. VLCN probably won't meet criteria. WENA probably won't meet criteria, but the other ones probably will. So just fingers crossed. Hopefully we have a good day today. Last week was fantastic. We had a green day every day last week, and they were actually pretty big green days last week too. We had about 7 or 8 trades a day last week, and we really crushed it on a holiday week in the market. So really couldn't be, any happier about that. But yesterday was almost my second red day of June. Thankfully, we turned it around somehow. Don't know how, but we stayed, just level-headed, and it was able to turn yesterday into a small day. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. That's why you just can't ever just throw the towel in. You just got to stick to your rules. For me, that's 3 strikes and I'm out. I never quite got to the 3 strikes yesterday. Almost did. But see, I feel like getting to that second strike yesterday, it just makes you buckle down. Maybe buckle down, be a little bit pickier, and just all worked out. So every day doesn't work that way. Of course, some days you've got to walk away. Some days you do get to your 3 strikes and you got to sit back, or you do in the morning red. And at that point, you just got to know when to step away. But fortunately, yesterday that wasn't the case. I think we've had one day this month where we've had a 3 strike day, and that was in the middle of the month. I think it was Wednesday 2 weeks ago. So that's all we've had so far as red days go. So not too bad. Not too bad. But definitely great lessons yesterday on just staying level-headed, not getting frustrated because of a loss, and just trading properly after a loss. Keep on looking at LRHC here. Keep on looking at LRHC, breaking up through this past daily high at 220. That 245 is going to be key on this as well, and it's got range to 290. Again, over 290, it's got the range up into the 360s. You can honestly watch this here over 245, guys. Watch LRHC over 245. Again, watch it off 245. Filled some small here at 255, risking 245 off of the 9 EMA. Again, I'm in here small on LRHC for the break of 264. A quarter size as always in pre-market. $265 trying to go here. Watch the break. Again, only a quarter size here. Super, super tight risk off of the high of day. Make sure you are sized properly. And looking for the curl off the 9 EMA. RGS holding it really well at that 9 EMA as well. I might look at that after this. Back to 2.6. So again, looking for the break of that 265 here for the room to 290 up to the previous daily high. Off of its 9 EMA. With a quarter of my usual size. So again, very small risk. Make sure your stops are in place if it does hit. Right now I'm just watching. Let's see what it wants to do. And I'm out there under 247. For a super small loss, about 60 bucks there. So again, quarter of my usual risk, still keeping it manageable. Takes one trade to make that back and then some. But I always like to try and get some profit cushion under the belt, and unfortunately got no follow through there on LRHC. But simple little wedge breakout there to the upside, no follow through. But what we can do is watch that again after the bell. If it does start to crack up again, we can look at that and see. The only thing with that, and like I said, a pre-market setup like that should not make or break your day, so make sure you're sized properly. So rather small loss, but I still do like it for later. We'll probably play it again later. Let's see, RGS finding buyers off 1370. I'm watching this one super closely too on RGS. I don't like it here, but off of the big flush at the bell, I do want to play this. Got about 5 minutes until the open as well, about 6 minutes. About 5 minutes. And again, right now starting the day with a loss on LRHC. Very, very small loss, about a quarter of my usual size. So that's why it's so important too, because the big thing is like a mental thing where if you come in pre-market and take a loss in pre-market, full size loss, you go into the open almost in like comeback mode. You can't do that. You know, you can't go into the open in comeback mode because you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to trade the whole day just like crap. But if I can go into the bell with a quarter size loss that I know is super manageable, I don't even really flinch. It doesn't even really bother me. So it's like there's just this mental thing where you're just not going to trade. You're not going to execute properly if you've got a full size loss before the market even opens. That's why it's important to make sure that you do size correctly. And now, of course, it probably will go. It's probably trying to go now. Go figure. That's how she goes, but I doubt that I'll look to play it again because we're so close to the bell, too. I may play it after the open, but here I'm not going to touch it. I'm really keeping my eyes on RGS, though. Something tells me we're not going to get the flush down into the 10s like I'm looking for on this. This thing is holding up so well at the open. And I've got a feeling it actually holds off the 12s, but we'll have to see at the open what it does. And if we do start to find buyers a little bit higher than I expected, then I'm going to look to take some on this for the move back up into the 18s. So MD 3-strike rule does not, well, it sort of does. You got to think of it this way. If it's a quarter size loss, to get to my max loss in pre-market, it would take 12 losses. You know, it would take 12 quarter size losses. So yes, in that sense, but no in the usual sense of 3 losses. Max loss is more of a dollar amount. So for, you know, if you've got an average loss or your constant loss is, let's say, 200 bucks, then your max loss per day is 600 bucks. Does that make sense? So regardless of how you get there, 600 bucks is your max loss. Does that make more sense? Okay, cool. Yeah, based on dollars. Yeah, max loss. So that's why I say in pre-market, it should not make or break your day. Having a little quarter size loss in pre-market, it will take you 4 back-to-back losses to get to a single loss, a single normal size loss. But yeah, no, that's a good question though. It's definitely one of those things where it's, yeah, it's just easy, but it's like, it's so important too. And that's just size in general. Sizing in general is so important for that exact reason. But the thing is, too, what I want you guys to understand is with that 3-strike rule in place, with your max loss being, let's say, 3 times your usual loss per trade, what that does is none of your red days are ever going to be larger than just 3 losses. Whereas you can have some green days where you come in and we've got 8 trades, we've got, 7 wins or 6 wins, and that's why they're able to outweigh the losing days so much, because we have that guideline in place so that worst case, our red days are only going to be 3 losses. So it just keeps them manageable so you don't fall into tilt, you don't revenge trade, you don't overtrade, trying to dig yourself out of a hole. So it's super important. And again, not playing LRHC here. I'm not going to double dip. It's one of the worst things you can do. You have your plan invalidated, and right next to it, you just hop right back in and say, oh, let's try it again. And then you take another loss on it. Then you try it again. You take another loss on it. Dangerous game. Top watch of the open for me is going to be an RGS. Again, top watch of the open is going to be RGS for me.